First, let me just point out that this city is made and is kept safe by people that work for it. And this morning, I unfortunately had to attend a funeral for a police officer who was killed in the line of duty. And then I just came in this hospital from visiting two firefighters who were burnt at a fire today, saving people's lives. Happy to say that both the firefighters will recover. They have burns to different degrees, but I've talked to both of them. They were both in good spirits. One of them, his wife and mother, was there. And it's just a reminder that while we're going on and building for the future, we have a presence and we have to take care of each other. And we're just blessed that people want to come to the city and want to devote their lives to making the city better. And some of them put their lives in danger. And that's unfortunately what we were reminded of this morning. In any case, over the past 10 years, as you know, we've worked very hard to diversify and strengthen our city's economy. And those investments, I think, are paying off. The press's eyes glazed over every time they heard Dan Doctoroff talk about his 5-borough economic diversification plan. But it was not a joke. It's something that has really happened. Our tourism industry is the nation's largest today, thanks to our hard work over the last 10 years. Film and television production continues to grow, and we recently surpassed Boston in venture capital for high-tech startups. But we are not slowing down in our effort to continue to transform the city's technology sector and prime the economic pump for generations to come. I think it's fair to say that today will be remembered as a defining moment. Earlier this year, if you remember, we made an offer to universities near and far. Build or expand a world-class science and engineering campus here in our city, and we will provide prime New York City real estate at no cost, plus up to $100 million in city capital for infrastructure improvements. I was happy to say we received 7 qualifying applications from 17 top-tier institutions from around the world, with some partnering with top-tier private companies. The applications were innovative, comprehensive, and far-reaching. I think they were much more than we had hoped for. And today, after nearly 2 months of reviewing the proposals and interviewing the applicants, I might say there's something like 10,000 pages if you added up all the proposals. So if Bob Steele and Seth Pinsky's eyes look a little bit glazed over, that's probably the reason. But we are very excited to announce a winner. And it is a dynamic joint submission from 2 world-class institutions, Cornell University and the Technion Israel Institute of Technology. Proposal envisions an 11-acre campus on the former Goldwater Hospital site on Roosevelt Island, right in the heart of our city. It promises to create a beehive of innovation and discovery, attracting and nurturing the kind of technical talent that will spawn new companies, create new jobs, and propel our city's economy to new frontiers. Now, we launched this competition because we've seen the power of universities to be a magnet for talent and economic innovation and growth. Some 150 years ago, Cornell was established through the U.S. government's University Land Grant Program to promote advances in agriculture and engineering. And if you remember, and none of us can say we did, although Hank Bloomberg and Sandy well maybe old enough to remember 150 years ago, that program helped propel America to become the world's most innovative economy. And now I think it really is appropriate that one of the original recipients of that historic land grant is receiving the new land grant to help us drive the 21st century economy. And we believe this new land grant can help more dreamers and entrepreneurs from around the globe come to New York and help us become the world's leading city in technological innovation. As elected officials, we need to focus on the day-to-day. We all know that, but as with everything else we are doing to diversify and strengthen our economy, we need to take a long-term view. And that's what this campus represents. It really is a game changer. In fact, the economic impact will be even greater than what we originally thought. A new analysis conducted by the city's Economic Development Corporation predicts that it will generate more than $23 billion in economic activity over the next 3 decades, as well as $1.4 billion in total tax revenues. The campus will also be a major job creator. Building it will generate nearly 20,000 construction jobs. Operating it will produce up to 8,000 permanent jobs, and those jobs, I might point out, are not just for PhDs, thank goodness, because maybe I can get one of them. There'll be jobs for building staff and administrative assistants and office workers. And by conservative estimates, the campus is expected to spin out something like 600 new companies over the next 3 decades, which will create up to 30,000 permanent jobs and attract other existing companies to move here. In a word, this project is going to be transformative. With its cutting-edge campus and pioneering green elements, it will transform Roosevelt Island. As startups spin out and naturally settle across the river in Long Island City, it will transform Weston Queens. By bringing in new talent and resources, it will build on the transformation already occurring within our academic community. And most importantly, by fueling growth not just in our tech sector, but in all industries, it will transform our economy. I'll let the leaders of both Cornell and Technion give a more detailed presentation in a few minutes, but let me quickly run through the highlights of why we found this proposal so compelling and why we think it will redefine our economic future. First, of all the applications we received, Cornell and the Technion was the far and away the boldest and most ambitious. Their proposal called for the most students, about 2,000 a year, the most faculty, about 300, and the most building space, over 2 million square feet. Their plan includes a state-of-the-art, environmentally sustainable campus designed by the leading architectural firm Skidmore, Owens & Merrill. It will comprise laboratories, teaching and research space, dormitories and housing facilities, incubator space for startups, and spin-out space for commercialization. Its multidisciplinary academic program has intentions of being among the best in the country, one that will initially concentrate on digital and connected media, healthcare, and the built urban environment, but will have the flexibility to focus on the industries and ideas that have the greatest potential to create new companies and jobs in New York City. The proposal also features elements that will help integrate the campus into the city, including 500,000 square feet of public spaces, public programming, and partnerships with our public school system to enhance math and science programs for at least 10,000 students a year, something that is just desperately needed. In addition, Cornell and the Technion plan to do something no other university proposed, immediately establishing a $150 million fund for startups that maintain activity in the city for at least 3 years. That fund is going to pay instant dividends and continue making New York the hottest city in the world when it comes to startup activity. The second major factor behind its selection is the dynamic and historic partnership between Cornell and the Technion. Cornell, of course, as you know, is an Ivy League university that already has one of the top 10 engineering schools in the nation. It's also no stranger to our city with a wide range of satellite programs based in 4 out of our 5 boroughs. The university already employs more than 5,000 people here, most of them here at their world-class medical school on Manhattan's East Side. In addition, our city is home to some 50,000 Cornell alumni, a community that has shown strong support for this project and will play a key role in connecting the campus to our business community. That support, I think, could not be better illustrated than by Cornell's announcement on Friday that it had received a magnificent $350 million gift, the largest in its history and one of the largest in the history of American higher education, to support the development of this tech campus. Furthermore, Cornell has a very strong culture of entrepreneurship. In the past 5 years alone, Cornell alumni have created more than 2,600 companies around the world, employing some 34,000 people and raising more than $10.6 billion in new capital. And the university hopes its new high-tech campus will allow it to replicate this rate of activity right here in New York City. The Technion you may not be quite as familiar with. It brings international star power to this project, which is only fitting since we are the world's most international city. The university has been a major force behind Israel's emergence as the home of one of the greatest concentrations of high-tech startup companies anywhere in the world. According to one report, the Technion's campus in Haifa sits at the center of an ecosystem of 4,000 startups, and global companies like Intel, Google, Microsoft, IBM, Yahoo have all established R&D operations nearby. Israel has 121 companies listed on the NASDAQ, more than all of Europe combined, and half of them are headed by graduates of the Technion. Meanwhile, 3 of the 4 Israeli scientists who have won the Nobel Prize in the physical sciences are professors at the Technion. And the Technion's alumni have been responsible for the development of the world's first wireless technology microprocessors, the first intestinal pill camera, the first standalone anti-ballistic missile defense system, and leading internet search engines. It amounts to an incredible record of breakthroughs in technology and, combined with Cornell's own successful track record as a breeding ground for entrepreneurs, it makes a tantalizing, groundbreaking partnership. The third reason for this submission selection is its incredibly aggressive schedule. Cornell and Technion plan to open an initial program in 2012, that's correct, in a few months, at a leased off-site location. The first phase of their permanent Roosevelt Island campus will open no later than 2017. Remember, we have to move the hospital out, and then they have to get going in building. And by the end of 2018, some 300 students would be enrolled in the program, taught by some 70 faculty. Now, before introducing today's other speakers, let me add one more important point about our applied sciences initiatives. The competition is not over, because we are determined to make this city the dominant global force in technology. We remain in active discussions with 3 other applicants, NYU, Columbia, and Carnegie Mellon. And we're eager and hopeful that we'll be able to find ways for them to realize their proposals, each of which envisions building campuses in other locations around the city. But I also want to take this moment to thank all of the universities who are taking part and have taken part in this competition. They invested an incredible amount of time, energy, and money putting their proposals together, and these proposals were stronger than anything we could have imagined. Their hard work and enthusiasm for this project only reinforced our belief that this is an endeavor with incredible potential. I also want to thank the 2 guys who conceived and carried out this game-changing competition, Deputy Mayor Bob Steele and EDC President Seth Pinsky. To say that they are the heroes here is so much of an understatement that it's just, history will write that this was a game-changing time in New York City, and these 2 guys really were the ones that thought about it, created it, did all the work with their staffs, and we are here today because of them, and sometime hopefully we'll find ways to really say thank you to them. I want to thank them and their respective staffs and an advisory group who spent a lot of time evaluating the proposals. And of course, we received support from a number of leaders in government and the worlds of technology, education, and business. And some of them have joined with us today, and I'm happy to say, including Israel's Consul General, Ido Aroni. Thank you. Of course, this is not just a watershed moment for New York City. It is also a very big day for Cornell and the Technion. In fact, this announcement is being streamed live to Cornell graduates and students next door and to the Technion students in Israel. If they give a loud enough cheer, maybe we'll hear them all the way over here. In this day and age, great universities know that they have to expand. They have to expand their locations, they have to expand their horizons, they have to expand their faculty and interests. And here are two universities who certainly have shown the courage to go and do that. And their success will be our success will be their success. But I'm sure there's an awful lot of proud people that are alumni and are currently matriculating or working at both these universities that have a very big smile on their face. Cornell's president, David Skorton, and the Technion's president, Peretz Lavi, are also here today. I want to congratulate them again in their respective institutions and turn the floor over to them, beginning with David Skorton. David.